welcome back to Spaceballs.
We... Okay, so you might notice we're in a different place and I've become significantly more masculine and Asian. So I redid a save on my own time, playing like, a different thing, using a custom male. I don't know what it is. I think it's just that the default female looks that awful with the whole teethy thing, the uncanny valley, because I played with a custom character and he is not nearly as bad.
Yeah, my custom character looks cool too.
Yeah, because you said you had a female, but it was a custom one.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look so awful like the default does. But the game... Okay, so I'm going to go back to what you said before, because we're actually... While this episode is coming out one day after, the last episode, it's actually been a week, so I've had some time to, just mess around. And I see what you're saying. All the stuff is there. It's just that there are occasional screw-ups that will make it less than perfect.
Yeah.
But it is still... it's still a decent game, at least, though. It's not as awful as those first few things.
Yeah.
Was,
it's just me and my wife, we went back and we started Mass Effect 1 again because it was on sale on Xbox, so I bought the 360 version so I could play it on my Xbox One.
Right.
And because I played it on the PS3, and I don't know if you know, but the PS3 version of Mass Effect 1 is horribly broken.
Is it?
Like, the final boss fight against, like, Saren, I think is his name?
Yes.
If you fight him where he turns into the horrible monster,
right,
and it does all the cutscene shots in space, based on your decisions,
right,
it will occasionally have a memory dump error and just crash the entire system. Like, turn off the PS3, and you have to start the fight over again, including making all the decisions that you made leading up to the fight to decide if the council survives or not.
Oh my goodness.
I had to do that fight 10 different times before it didn't crash. So, I have a love-hate relationship with the first Mass Effect already. Playing it on the 360, as God intended, I actually really like the game, and I came to a realization. It's kind of a better, more polished, and better animated game than this one.
Right. I mean, there are...
Ooh, what happened to his face texture there?
Yeah. So yeah, that's
there it is.
Well, it just takes... Well, see, it's... I don't want to fully blame this game because just in general, I think it's probably just a side effect of having my systems run for too long, because you know how I am.
Yeah.
I tend to leave all my consoles running for absurd periods of time. But yeah, a lot of games, the textures will just take a long time, so I think
it's the Xbox One hardware, too. And the engine the game's running on.
Maybe. But I don't want to put all the blame on this game for that particular thing. Like, that's who I'm going with. I'm trying to go with Vetra for my romantic option. Because when I was playing... Whoa. Get mad.
Okay, Eddie Gordo, calm down there.
But you do not talk shit about Eddie in this house.
I love Eddie Gordo. I'm just telling him to calm down.
Eddie was awesome. Eddie was my main.
Like you can't say he doesn't look like Eddie Gordo.
Well, no, because Eddie's got he has the dreads that are pulled back.
Oh, yeah. I thought he had it's been so
afro?
long. Yeah.
No, that's Tiger.
Okay, Tiger, calm it down.
Jackson. Tiger Jackson was basically just the palette swap. But, yeah, like Mass Effect 2 and 3, I started into a relationship with Garrus, but I just never finished that playthrough.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I want to see what it's like to date a Turian. So I'm trying for Vetra.
Whereas my wife, when we started, she's like, we're doing an all-lesbian run.
So you went for PB?
Well, no, I mean, I want to go for PB, but...
I will say, I am glad that there is a jokey, non-serious Asari for a change.
Yeah.
Where all the others
She's sassy.
Where all the ones up to this point have always been like, find peace in the embrace of the goddess. And finally, you get PB and she's ridiculous.
Like, PB knows she's the smartest person in the conversation and just wishes everybody else would catch up to that point. And she's going to be sarcastic and snarky until you get the point.
Right. But, yeah.
And she's also like, ooh, science.
Yeah. But, yeah, I've had, time to play this, not super far. Like, I've only just reached the second planet, so I'm not that far into it. So, anyone who's worried about spoilers, I'm not... you're not getting too deep into it.
Oh, his leg went all weird.
Yeah, you saw that too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just caught Elvis fever for a second.
But I'm noticing like different things. Like, yeah, I don't know what your problem is with Liam, to be honest. When you get to know him, he's not a bad person. He's actually pretty funny. If you read the if you also read the ship's, like, I guess forum, because they have like a forum for the crew members. But he's actually pretty funny on it.
Well, my problem is I haven't spent much time with the game, and when I played, I didn't fire on those aliens. He did first. So I feel like he's the reason we're at war with these guys. It's like, you broke the Prime Directive, you...
Well, no. I actually sat, looking at all the extra crap on the side. There was a data pad that showed what the first contact protocol was, and it said, don't attack unless there is a threat that a person is killed or in danger.
Yeah.
And I guess we just didn't see it at the time. Or, no, we actually commented on it, but didn't do anything about it, because...
They were holding the one guy hostage and beating him up pretty bad.
Right, they were beating him. He was being beat up.
I know, when we take some down, he just, like, fires on a corpse a couple of times. I'm like, you space racist.
Well, you gotta keep in mind, the only contact we've had is just him flipping out.
Yeah.
But, also, I love when you actually start, like, building up the planets and whatnot.
Yeah. You
can get rewards and stuff, so I've got the thing, so every 45 minutes, I just get materials for no reason. Just cuz.
Yeah. Yeah, I see a lot of what I like about Star Trek Online in this game.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Star Trek Online, I gotta check my strike teams, because I just did a thing.
Slave trade?
And... What? Oh, that's what you're calling the...
That's what I call my duty officers.
Right. So, yeah.
Well, it's better than calling it the DOF system.
The what?
They call it the DOF system.
DOF?
Yeah, DOFs and BOFs. Duty officers and bridge officers.
Oh, okay.
I think it's dumb.
But yeah, I've gotten, like, so much stuff. Like, all this. I actually had about 40 boxes of these. So I'll just keep pulling in stuff. I had a bunch of credit... where was it? Yeah, here we go. Credit loot boxes. I had a whole bunch of these. I just pulled all those in. The items have come up with, like, weapons. Dude, there's so much stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But... Oh, God. There's actually... I do want to piggyback on... Not piggyback, but, like, I want to bring up, like, other stuff that has actually kind of annoyed me about this game.
Okay.
Like, because I've just kind of been jotting down stuff that I like, stuff that I don't like. There's 3 really irksome things. Okay, so one thing is that it seems like they pad out some of the missions, like the side quests.
There's, like, extreme amounts of fetching. And...
Yeah, because there's one where a guy is like, hey, I think someone's messing with this terminal, someone's sabotaging it, find out what it is.
Yeah, and you're going all over the place. I remember that mission.
Because you go from, like, it starts off, okay, you start off in the Hyperion Arc, or no, you start off in the Nexus, then you have to go to Hyperion Arc, then you have to go back to the Nexus, then you have to go back to the Hyperion, and you have to make, like, 3 or 4 trips just between these 2 places. And there's no reason for it.
And it's one of those things, it's like, for every negative, there is a positive. But these negatives are almost inexcusable given the pedigree of the series, because a lot of these negatives are things that I would totally forgive in any other game. But Mass Effect Trilogy, even its worst entry to date, is one of the finest video games ever crafted.
And this right here is another thing that irks me, going from planet to planet, because it does this long, drawn-out thing, where it's just... And
part of it's to mask long load times, because of the way this engine works, because this is the same engine that powers Battlefield and Battlefront.
Well, the thing is, a lot of these, though, nothing's really happening. You show up, you might have a scanner thing, and that's it. The 5 seconds I just spent is actually longer than Anomaly on Sense. Oh, wait, hold on.
Well, the thing is even areas where it's not really loading, they're still going to keep that shot because of the sense of immersion, but areas where something is going to happen, it's going to have a long load time. But to prevent tipping their hand as to where an event is going to happen, they're going to put that animation in front of every single one, so you don't go like, oh, it's loading, there must be something big here. Kind of like whenever you walk into a boss room and it autosaves, you're like, ah, okay.
Well, the thing is, this game it seems to save, like, whenever, so, I mean, it's not like, it's saving, so there must be a thing.
Yeah, but like some older games, like, it won't have autosave for a while, you'll walk into a room, and you're like, oh, this is a big room, there's obvious cover spots. Right. Autosave. There's a box of ammo and health. This must be a fight room. Right.
But... Yeah, but padding... Okay, another thing that really irks me, and this is not so much a gameplay thing as it feels like breaking lore. That guy with the big blue face, he's from a race called the Angara. And what gets me, though, is that we can understand each other perfectly. Because they explained this in... They explained something like this in the previous Mass Effects. Like, you know how they had the codex that told you all the G-Whiz info about the game? So... in the previous Mass Effects, they said that everyone had like a translator that was, I don't know if they wore it or if it was built into something or what, but everyone had a translator.
Yeah.
So you could understand everything perfectly. So if you talk to a Turian, you're hearing perfect Earth English, but they're hearing you talk in Turian speak.
Yeah, you always hear accents, like on the Quarians.
I'm not worried about the accents.
It's Star Trek
but the
stuff, though. So.
Right, whatever. But that's not my point. They mentioned that the reason everyone can understand each other is because all races frequently update those protocols. Even the Batarians, who are considered like the outsiders of Council space.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they have to be able to do business with people that go on the black market, so they upload their translation protocols as well.
Communication is vitally important.
Exactly. The thing is, you remember when we first met the Ket,
yeah,
they couldn't speak, or we couldn't understand them. You know, they were yelling stuff, we were trying to yell back, they probably didn't understand us. But the same thing happens with the Angara at first.
You know,
you talk to... What?
So, real quick, super nerdy thing. That black hole-like thing back there?
Right.
That's gravitational lensing happening.
Okay.
That's a real thing that happens around black holes. You can't see a black hole, but back there, the way that it's warping?
Yeah.
That's an effect called gravitational lensing.
How you can kind of see the planet sort of distort in the...
Basically, the light that's being pulled towards it is actually moving so fast as to be warping around it before the event horizon. That's just an artifact of the way that they do the effect there.
Oh, okay. I thought it was...
But, like, the way that the light... That's how a black hole would look from space.
Okay.
You wouldn't be able to actually see into it, but it would look almost like this perfectly reflective surface, and you'd actually be seeing warped images of the things behind it. So that's cool that they thought to do that.
Okay, I do have a question, though. How do you know that? Is it stated in, like, science journals or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, they're testing... right now they're about to test a series of telescopes that are actually going to capture real images of a black hole for the first time by taking photos of the gravitational lensing. It's just really cool that they're... So, again, for every negative thing, they have something like that that's like a really cool, like super nitpicky, detailed thing.
Okay, now that you're mentioning that, I do want to backtrack to what I was saying before. Because what I was saying before, like the translator things, the Ket couldn't understand each other, and when you first meet the Angara, you guys can't understand each other either.
Yeah.
Then you happen to meet like the first person, like one person, and you can understand him. And not only that, you can understand every Angara from there. Like, all of them updated all at once. Now, I don't know if somehow they now have access to translation protocols or what, or if it gets addressed later.
Yeah.
But everyone suddenly understood each other, and no one spoke of it anymore.
Maybe they have really good, universal translators on their end.
But then how does that affect, humans and everyone from Council space? How can they understand?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like maybe they have really good universal translators that can just pick out our language and translate it quickly, just from analyzing us. But
I don't know.
Star Trek does something similar. But and to be honest, if I were a peaceful race and I had developed the ability for all the people on my planet to be able to communicate, because communication is one of the most important things for humanity. Like, misunderstandings have caused so much problems.
Right.
So I would think as a gesture of peace that, I wouldn't bring food. I wouldn't bring technology like, faster than light travel or anything like that. The first thing I would bring as a gift to a new race would be that universal translation technology so that we could talk. Because it's such a simple yet important thing.
Did I just drop off at the same planet? God damn it.
It's a pretty planet.
It is. But I do kind of want to move on because we are running short on time and I still have a couple of points I want to address.
Yeah.
Another thing about the Angara. Okay, so you remember that electrical stuff from the first couple episodes I jokingly called, like, electric shredded wheat?
Yeah.
Okay, so have you gotten far enough to where everyone's been calling it the Scourge?
Yeah.
Right, that's like, on the Nexus, that's what everyone's been calling those electrical disturbances, is the Scourge. For no reason, you never bring it up, but the Angara start calling it that too. When did you ever tell the Angara that it was called that?
Bear in mind, the Council races have been here for almost a year before you arrived. So in interaction with these other races...
No, you are the first people to meet the Angara.
Oh.
They have had... No one else has had any interaction with them.
Maybe it's their universal translation technology. Maybe it's got like a psychic level to it, and so they just use terminology you're familiar with.
Stupid.
Because that's how the universal translators work in Star Trek. They basically are just like brain scanning, and they affect the language center of your brain as opposed to anything else. So maybe they can just read that part of our brain and figure out how we...
There's so much with the Angara just from them being a new race that hasn't been explained yet. Like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, how can they understand each other when the Ket couldn't? And we even couldn't understand the Angara before. Oh, and now they know what we call a thing.
I also hate how absolutely transparent the DLC is going to be. Oh, the Quarians are going to be late. Right around the time the first DLC pack launches.
Well, no, and that's actually a thing they were saying before when you talk to more of the people.
Yeah.
They say that the Quarian ships were supposed to bring other races, like the Hanar and Elcor.
Yeah.
So, you might still get to see, like, Blasto, the first Hanar Spectre, maybe that might be a thing. You don't
This
know.
one demands to see more Hanar.
But they just mentioned that they would be, they would be later on down the road. I don't know if that's DLC. That might just be like Andromeda 2 if that ever happens. That happens.
That feels like the way they were talking about it and the whole later on down the road discussion, that is exactly the kind of DLC talk that EA gives.
See, you could interpret it as DLC talk. I actually took it as next game talk. I might be thinking too far in advance, but...
Yeah.
But, yeah, one last thing I want to touch on that, unfortunately, I didn't get to show off because, we're not actually in a fight. But I love that you can... Oh, hello.
Hello there.
Nice. But apparently you can add, like, not mods. That's not the word I'm looking for. Like, you can... When you craft your own weapons, you can attach little neato things. Like, I have a thing that will allow people to, it'll put weapons on... It's a thing. If I put it on a weapon, it'll turn the bullets it normally shoots into either grenades or sticky grenades. Yeah, I know. So I could actually put that on like an automatic sniper rifle if I wanted to.
Yeah.
And then just like launch like focused sticky grenades everywhere. There's one where like, oh goodness, what is it? I think I could turn like my normal Omniblade weapon into like an ice gauntlet, so I can freeze enemies instead of just do direct damage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've actually got one right now that I turned a sniper rifle that normally shoots bullets into like a focused laser.
Yeah.
Kind of like what those annoying... Oh, have you played multiplayer yet?
No.
Have you... Crap, I'm trying to think what they're called. Have you seen the Remnant machines that shoot the lasers? They have the shields on them, they float.
I think I fought one or two of them.
Okay, it's kind of like that.
Ah.
But yeah, I just made my automatic sniper rifle do that, so now I just have like this focused laser. But yeah, there's so much about this game that's... Well, you put it best. Every one thing that's good, there's one bad thing to counterbalance it. So I'm reluctant to say it's a good or bad game.
Yeah. The bad can be fixed, I feel like.
Yeah.
With some tweaking.
I just think it shouldn't have been an issue in the first place because so much of this game does not feel... Doesn't feel complete. Right. It feels like an unfinished game.
And I feel like the people who published, or not the people who published it, the devs at BioWare, they even said we could have held it back another 6 months and fixed everything, or we could have released it now.
I would have preferred
a
delayed, finished game.
I think I know why they didn't push it back.
What's that?
No Man's Sky.
What do you mean?
When the publishers of No Man's Sky, which this game almost had a No Man's Sky-like vibe with the procedurally generated galaxy.
Right.
When they pushed it back the first time, when they had the flood that basically destroyed the game and they had to start over from scratch, the creators of the game got death threats.
What?
The creators were getting credible death threats.
For what?
For pushing back this game. But also a bunch of dude bros thought the game was going to be like this multiplayer deathmatch thing just based on the trailer, which didn't show other players. It showed other ships in space that they were fighting against, which were flying in a way that they thought were people, but it's just really good enemy piloting.
Right.
And like a lot of people read more into the game than was going to be there, but when they went to push it back again because it wasn't quite finished, Sony wouldn't let them because they couldn't afford the protection and all that. Like, they just get the game out there, patch it later. And to their credit, they have. Like, No Man's Sky, I'm saying it now, is an excellent game if you know what you're getting into, which is a very relaxing, Minecrafty without being ugly kind of survival game.
But by this point, the damage had been done. People aren't trusting of the game. It's just kind of...
Yeah. And
Right.
unfortunately, while trying to avoid the threats and the insanity, they ended up releasing effectively a No Man's Sky, an unfinished, unpolished game that is a wonderful game that fights your love of it.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so this episode is running a bit long. We're probably going to call it here in a sec, but yeah, my opinion on this, yeah, it's a fun game if you can, deal with the glitches, because really the facial expressions, for the most part, are just the default crap.
Yeah.
If you do a custom character, they're not awful. Like, there are still some screw-ups. Like, the teethy thing that the default female did? Like, when she woke up, she did that "Arr!" look. That still looks bad. But everything else, though, has been much more on point.
Yeah.
And...
Can I just mention one last thing?
Yes.
I looked at a size scale between the Normandy and your current ship.
Uh-huh.
Your ship is way smaller than the Normandy. Why does it feel way bigger and filled with, like, extra fluff?
Because there's more shit to deal with. They put more crap to interact with.
But it's a smaller ship by, like, a third.
They put more crap. There is... Oh, my God. Speaking of so much crap.
I thought that said meat suppressor.
That's
going to be the name of my next gun.
The meat suppressor?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, you can name guns. I forgot about that.
What's that gun? That's meat suppressor.
You can name guns in this game. That's the selling point. Mass Effect Andromeda, you name your gun. I'm just saying, Brian, I would definitely put my SR Barrel 2 into her meat suppressor.
No.